Hi, welcome. I'm Jules. Welcome to my basement studio sanctuary. Whether this is your first time here or whether you've joined me many times before, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your presence, and I hope that we may see one another through loving eyes and have a nourishing relationship mutually. So I wanted to share some of the medicine and magic that I've found in this recent painting, the studio story for the day. And I think that, it's probably meant for more than just me. And so I'm going to share both from just a spiritual standpoint, the messages within it that might be appreciated by anyone and everyone, and also some of the kind of art tips and happy accidents and things that are behind the scenes or part of the creative process. So this is the painting. It is called Sogni d'Oro. I'm not positive if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is Italian for golden dreams. And this is it. It is on a loose piece of canvas. So that's why I have clothespins here holding it to a panel to make it easier for me to share with you. It's more tapestry-ish at the moment. You can even see a little bit of unraveling here, which came into play in the inspiration and in its messages. And it could be framed in a 16 by 20 frame. I didn't want to do that while I was sharing it with you because I wanted it to not reflect off of the glass from the frame. So I'm doing it this way for now. And I think it could also be held fun by a nice wooden stick collected and hung like a tapestry as well. Anyway, so it's messages. I was working on it for the new moon, most recent Aquarius new moon, which happened to be just a few days before my birthday, which is February 2nd. 02/02/2020 this year. And I'll be 44. Lots of double numbers. Anyway, so I was thinking a lot of times on the new moon, people talk about planting seeds or planting intentions. And for me, it's become kind of a ritual to think about what I'm tending. What seeds am I tending on the new moon? And then on the full moon, when I think about it, I don't always. This is not a kind of strict anything, but on a whim sometimes. For some new moons and some full moons, I will do this. I think about on the full moon more gratitude and what is filling my heart and what I'm thankful for that is filling my life. So I was thinking about kind of tending seeds with this one. And this kind of dream catcher-ish thing appeared. And I want to share a few happy accidents that happened with that because this had been a painted background from some time ago that was just sitting aside. And I loved the colors and the palette so much that I had left it not knowing what to do next for quite some time. And then I was finally inspired that it's time to dance with this one and see where it leads. So I started with just the gold because I knew I was going to like that over these colors. And I made these kind of champagne or bowl shapes here. And then I flipped it around and did the same on the other side. And then I noticed that it could go either way. At that point, it didn't have any of the other imagery, that those could be they can look like lamps or lights when they're hanging one direction and look like cups or bowls the other direction. And then thought about how they could also be giving and receiving. Like these are emptying and these are catching and receiving, and then vice versa when you turn it around. And that made me think about natural reciprocation and breathing in and out and input and output. And I just liked them. They make me happy, these shapes. They make me think of nourishment and catching, collecting all of the nourishment that is in the world around us to eat and drink, quenching our physical thirst and hunger, and also our spiritual or emotional needs, and nourishing those. So it felt like I really just was enjoying that shape. And then I just kind of played and moved on and had some more shapes come, and I added a few that I was liking in a different painting here. And then I wanted to add a dancer. I felt like dancing. It was making me happy. Another painting had inspired that. And I wanted this kind of open-hearted dancer, and then I wanted one that seemed like she was almost flying, you know, when you jump dance. So I looked up for dancer silhouettes online, and I found a few that I liked. And so I penciled this one in here. She's kind of leaning in. She had one leg up and was leaning in, and I just penciled in the silhouette there and decided to fill in some paint around her to bring her forth. And then there's an echo of an earlier layer that you can see above the bird. I don't know if you can see it, if it will show up, but I penciled in another dancer here. At first was her face, and her arms were open and her legs were open like she was in a jumping kind of flight. And then I didn't like her placement, so I started again with another one here. And so there are two echoes of dancers there. And then I let them go. I wasn't feeling those marks as much in the painting, and in that I paused at that point and went to sleep, I think, and felt what I left with. I covered them, and then I looked at her and I focused on her, and I took a picture of her opening her heart. I journaled some of the messages on a just scrap piece that was sitting aside about trusting the flow. And I put these little flowy marks here for that. Trusting the unraveling, because this was unraveling, and I thought about how we might shed our whatever uniforms or costumes we might have, or if we feel bound up by anything that is binding us, that could be unraveling, and that could be like a liberating, free feeling, free kind of feeling. Trust the unraveling, trust joy, trust the dream weaver. And that's where this had come in and reminded me of a dream catcher. So, you know, the good, like laughter's good medicine, spirit medicine that it had for me. So trust the dream weaver. And that came back to a painting that I did last year for my birthday, so just about a year ago, where I had this journey vision of the divine weaving dreams into my hair, like you would weave flowers into a horse's mane kind of thing. And I thought about who, the message at the time, a year ago, was who put those dreams in your head and your heart to begin with, and that you can trust them. Because I was really questioning my ambition to some degree, and my hopes and my dreams and where I was going from here. And so this, a year later, trust the dream weaver message, which was not written in yet, but I was just listening to the painting and letting it kind of sing to me. The trust the dream weaver message felt like trust your dreams, that it's okay to dream, that it's okay to trust those dreams, that there's something that we might not understand, some divine dream weaver or delight, mystery, flow within us that sparks those, and that those come from, they have some kind of source that sometimes might be other people's shoulds, and that's different. And tuning into that is, I think, important. Whose dreams are they? Mine or someone else's? This was trust the dream weaver, so it was like the dreams that were in my head and my heart, not external shoulds. Trust the divine within you. Trust your love. And my dreams are often wrapped up in some way with what I love, whether that's what I love to do, or who I love, or what I love to experience in terms of connection and sharing and celebrating together, all those kinds of things. and it said, "Once upon a time in your wildest dreams," started playing in my head, this song, and I started thinking about dreams. And so Sogni came about when I noticed all the gold, and I was hearing this message about the dream weaver, and it was like just starting to all really come together and harmonize and sing to me. And what I noticed that night before going to bed, I'm trying to get to, is how these little dots from the dream catcher were like in her hair. I didn't place her there intentionally. That was a happy accident, or sweet synchronicity, whatever you want to call it, that it was like an echo, a reminder from a year ago when I had this other painting and there were dreams woven, flowery dreams that would bloom, woven in her hair. And so here was something similar happened in this one that I didn't even plan. And that's part of what I mean when I talk about the magic and the medicine found in art, that sometimes things like that happen that are soothing for our soul, can be medicine for us. And then I went to bed and came back, and I really wanted to add a bird. And I've been hesitant to add very many birds. I've done some, but I haven't done a lot in my art because a lot of my mentors and muses use them, and I didn't want to appear too much like them. I wanted to, have my own unique voice. However, I have learned that it's important to give ourselves the freedom to be as different as we want to be, or to acknowledge when we have similarities, and that's totally okay. We can speak the same language, whether it's English or French or Italian, or we can speak the same soul language that may not be in words all the time. Sometimes might be, I sing along with lyrics and I write poetry, but sometimes it might be in visual or color or other ways. And so I finally gave myself the freedom to be as similar or as different. And I've done this before, but this was another layer of that, kind of opening that onion, peeling away the layers, more freedom to just, who cares? I'm not copying anybody else. I wasn't looking at any other painting at the time. This is what I wanted to add. And so I got my bird book and went to look through it, and decided I wanted to add a whippoorwill because it's something that I'm familiar with, that is around our home a lot. I actually started browsing through it. There are lots of birds that I love, and I was thinking about an owl at first because of the dreams at night, but then I decided the page for the whippoorwill was right after the owl, and I really liked that because they sometimes sing me to sleep, and that could be like the dream weaver. I oftentimes am thinking about what I'm thankful for or what I am inviting and welcoming into my life, dreams, as I'm going to sleep. So it felt fitting for it to be a night bird, and the whippoorwill lives around here, sometimes keeps me up at night, as do my dreams sometimes. And then when I added it, another happy accident, its placement, I actually started with it up here, and I wanted to scoot it back some. I was thinking about the whole thirds thing, and that it would be better if it was placed just a little bit further back in the painting. And so there's an echo of it somewhere in there that you can't really see much now. And I scooted it back and put it here. But I didn't do it with this in mind. I didn't know, I just started with the head, and I didn't know where, its wing was gonna land. And it ended up here. This is like one of my favorite parts of the whole painting. It ended up looking like it's kind of dangling from that botanical coming down from the top. It could have just gone over top of it. The bird could have been completely in front of it, or vice versa, completely behind it. But I really liked how it kind of looks like it goes right through the wing by placing one in front and one behind, like the one line in front of the wing and one line of the wing behind the botanical. So I played with that to get it to look just like that. And that, the fact that the wing landed there was not my doing, not intentionally, but I loved it and ran with it once it did, and that made it more unique, more mine, my touch. And I love the intermingling of things seeing how things connect and relate. I do that. You'll see this a lot in a lot of my paintings in some way, where things like this wing and that line of this go together because they're harmonizing. They are they're connected in some way. And here it's growing right out of this shape or right through it. And so in lots of places, I love when that happens. And when I find an opportunity for it, I don't always plan it or intend it, but I welcome it and embrace it when I find opportunities for it, like this. So that was another fun, happy accident kind of thing that I enjoyed about that. And I just kept playing around with different aspects of it, slowing down as it was coming closer to the end and changing the color around the bird to make it pop more and those kinds of things. But those are some of the happy accidents I wanted to share, and echoes, like these dancers in the back that I left being able to see through the paint intentionally because I like their presence there. And they are part of the message. This bird ended up landing like kind of within her. So it can almost be like the wind beneath your wings. Like the bird could be the golden dream weaver kind of thing, and it's saying that I will help carry you and carry your dreams, that I am part of your breath. I flow within you. All of that kind of stuff was coming to me and warming my heart and my soul as I was working with it. It was very encouraging medicine for me. So I wanted to share in case it might be for you as well, in case something in that might speak to you too. And so it also has a little bit, it says lean in here. I wrote some of the journaling directly on it. So there's echoes of that you may or may not see in the final piece, or if you don't look closely, where it says lean in. It said trust the unraveling at one point, and that kind of got painted over, and trust joy. So there were messages that did get painted over some, but you might still see little echoes of. And then I obviously wrote Sogni Doro and Trust the Dreamweaver towards the end, because those were the most important messages that she had for me, and was the essence of the painting, the energy of it that wanted to really stand out and go forth. And so it has a very kind of peaceful, opening, joyful feel to me, because she's opening up. Maybe there's a bit of a surrender, but there's also what would be the right word, for that whole trust, which has been something that's been not always come easy for me, and attending and a nurturing, and that there's someone else maybe within me, or around me supporting me in some way. I don't know. Now I'm starting to ramble, so that's probably time to wrap it up. But I hope that something from that was worth your time. Mostly. It was a blessing for me to create, and I hope that something in the sharing might be a blessing for you. Online groups are wonderful for that. If you haven't participated in one and would like to, I do host a free one, and I'd love to have you join us. And the magic and medicine to be found in art is wonderful too if you're interested in creating. I did not record the process for this one. This was my own kind of moon meditation time, nourishment for myself, but I record many that have similar aspect and approach to the process if you'd like to join me for a class. And of course, many of my paintings are available, either the original or prints. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you think. If you saw or see anything different in it, get any different messages. And I forgot to talk about the song with the whippoorwill. It started singing to me that night I went to sleep. This is like the best part. Oh yes, this is the little gold at the end, golden nugget to leave you with for both of us. There was a song by Randy Travis that I sang when I was little in choir, and it had to do with a whippoorwill. And it's about the love being longer than the song of a whippoorwill. So I'm not going to sing it for you, but this painting does have quite a playlist now. That was the first song that started singing to me, and many others came about birds and about dreams. So I'll share that with you, and I'd love to hear if you have any favorite songs about birds or about dreams, what they are. Hit reply to the email or comment, depending on how you're coming across this video. I'm sharing it with email subscribers first, but I might share it elsewhere as well. So I would love to hear from you either way, whatever's the easiest way for you. Any songs that you like about birds or dreams, anything that spoke to you from the painting, whatever its conversation with you might be. And that song says, "My love is deeper than the holler, longer than the river," a bunch of other things, and longer than the song of a whippoorwill. And as I went to bed and I was hearing that "Trust the Divine Dreamweaver" and that song playing in my head, I was thinking, what if I love myself that way? You know, it's a love song that's meant to be between like a couple people, two people that are in a couple, like marriage or relationship. But I thought, what if I sang to myself that way and love myself that way? And what if it's a message from the divine Dreamweaver to me? That it's singing that song to me, "My love is longer than the song of a whippoorwill." And oh, that gives me good kind of like chills, touches me to think. And like I said before, trust has not always been easy for me. There have been abuses and other things in my past that I've not always found it easy to trust, and not just other people, but also the divine. So this has had a lot of potent medicine with all the trust energy in it, and that love, that as if I'm being serenaded by a lover that is unconditional, that is within me and all around me, and that is life, and that, yeah, something like that. So I'm going to leave you with that. And if you'd like to check out the other songs, there's lots of great ones about birds. So, yeah, sing along, dance along, and I wish you golden dreams, sweet dreams, Sogni Doro. Thank you for joining me.